They call him Money Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather Jr. 50 victories, 0 defeats, and more than $1.2 billion earned throughout his career. This wasn't just a fighter winning inside the ring. He completely changed the image of wealth in professional sports. The mountains of cash spread across hotel beds, the $18 million watch, the private jets, the perfectly color-matched Rolls Royces. The entire world saw it, and the entire world talked about it. But here's the uncomfortable truth nobody really wants to admit. It's 2026, and the entire Money Mayweather persona is beginning to crash into reality. At 48 years old, Floyd isn't sitting peacefully on some tropical beach counting endless stacks of money. He appears to be in survival mode. He's booking exhibition fights in places like Congo and Greece. He's suing former business partners for hundreds of millions. He's reportedly battling eviction issues connected to a luxury New York penthouse, while simultaneously claiming ownership of a massive $40 million real estate empire. The leader of the money team suddenly looks like a man fighting to protect his finances. And today, we're stepping behind the velvet curtain to uncover how a billion-dollar fortune can seemingly disappear into thin air. This is a story you needed to hear. All right, let's begin with something called the burn rate. In the financial world, your burn rate measures how quickly you spend money. And Floyd's burn rate resembles a wildfire tearing through California. Let me explain. He owns 2 Gulfstream private jets. Just keeping those planes operational. Hangar fees, pilots, fuel, maintenance, insurance reportedly cost somewhere between $4 million and $6 million every year per aircraft. That could mean nearly $12 million annually simply to keep the jets prepared and ready. Not vacations, not flights, just maintenance. Then you move to the car collections. White luxury cars in Vegas, black luxury cars in Los Angeles. Over 100 high-end vehicles, Bugatti, Ferrari, Rolls-Royce, Lamborghinis, all depreciating the second they hit the road. Cars are not investments. They are liabilities. And when someone owns over 100 of them, that liability becomes enormous. In 2025, Floyd reportedly spent $2.25 million on 4 luxury vehicles in a single day, only to later sue the dealership afterward. That doesn't feel like calculated power moves. That feels like reckless spending without any long-term financial discipline. And then there's the entourage. Look, loyalty matters. Floyd came from nothing in Grand Rapids, and he built a team around him from the ground up. But we're talking about dozens of bodyguards, assistants, drivers, chefs, stylists, and personal staff members. He's still operating with the same gigantic entourage structure from his peak years, while bringing a fraction of the income he once earned. That's the core problem here. Back when Floyd was fighting Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor, he was earning anywhere from $100 million to $300 million per event. That type of money could sustain the lifestyle. But those mega paydays no longer exist. The exhibition circuit pays significantly less, maybe somewhere between $10 million and $30 million before taxes, before travel expenses, before the entourage, before the jets, before everything else. He's no longer living off the growth of his wealth. He appears to be spending through the principle itself. And that is exactly how someone with a billion-dollar image can still go broke. Now, let's discuss something many people avoid talking about because it becomes unsettling once you realize Floyd doesn't drink alcohol, doesn't use drugs, and has always lived a clean lifestyle. But everybody has something they chase. And Floyd's addiction may very well be adrenaline. When you spend your entire life fighting in front of screaming crowds, when your identity is tied to competition and pressure, retirement creates a void. That rush has to be replaced somehow. And for Floyd, that replacement seemingly became gambling. We've all seen Instagram posts, giant betting slips, massive payouts, flashy casino wins. But what people rarely show are the losses. And reportedly, those losses have been brutal. Floyd allegedly lost $10 million on a single Super Bowl bet. Think about how dangerous that is financially. When he wins money gambling, taxes immediately take a portion. Federal taxes, state taxes. But when he loses, the entire loss belongs to him. A $10 million mistake becomes a full $10 million hit. And then things reportedly became even darker. In 2024, rumors spread across the internet claiming Floyd Mayweather had been detained in Dubai over major gambling-related debts. not involving casinos, but involving far less regulated lenders, people who don't rely on lawyers or formal paperwork. Floyd's camp denied everything, saying it was all business-related confusion. But here's the real question. How does a billionaire become trapped in another country because of a misunderstanding involving money? Usually, that doesn't happen unless the billionaire image is no longer fully real, unless the brand is stronger than the actual bank account behind it. And if someone owes dangerous people outside traditional financial systems, they suddenly need money fast. Clean money, immediate money, no delays, which could explain why Floyd Mayweather now seems willing to fight almost anyone, anywhere in the world, not for legacy, for liquidity. Now listen, some of you may say, Lino B, that's speculation. Fair enough. So let's move away from speculation and look directly at the receipts because there are plenty of them. Receipt number 1. Late in 2025, Floyd Mayweather reportedly faced legal action connected to eviction from a luxury apartment in New York. A man publicly claiming ownership of a $40 million real estate portfolio was allegedly over $500,000 behind on rent. Not a mortgage, rent. Receipt number 2. A jewelry business in Miami reportedly filed a lawsuit claiming Floyd walked away with $1.6 million worth of jewelry after paying through 5 separate checks. According to the allegations, none of the checks cleared. Every single one bounced. One bounced check can happen to almost anybody. But 5 separate checks totaling over $1 million from a man carrying a billion-dollar image? That doesn't sound like a simple mistake. That sounds like a severe cash flow issue. Receipt number 3, Logan Paul. Years after their exhibition match, Logan publicly continued claiming Floyd still owed him roughly $1.5 million connected to their deal. And Logan is no struggling YouTuber anymore. Between WWE success and prime hydration money, he has no reason to invent stories over $1.5 million. Yet he keeps bringing it up because, according to him, the money still hasn't arrived. When you connect all these situations together, unpaid claims, bounce checks, rent issues, fighters alleging non-payment, it starts looking less like isolated incidents and more like a company desperately moving money around to cover older problems with new income. That is what financial instability looks like. Now let's get to receipt number 4. And this one involves the government directly. After the Mayweather versus McGregor fight in 2017, Floyd reportedly earned somewhere around $300 million. Yet shortly afterward, the IRS filed a $22 million tax lien against him because he allegedly didn't have enough liquid cash immediately available to cover the taxes. Think about how insane that sounds. A man earning $300 million still struggled to quickly produce $22 million in cash because the money was seemingly already spent before it fully settled. Now I want to touch on something sensitive because this part isn't funny at all. Many people remember the moment when 50 Cent challenged Floyd to read a full page from Harry Potter on camera. The internet turned it into a massive joke and meme. But underneath the humor sits a reality with potentially devastating financial consequences.
This is a special ASLELS challenge for you, Floyd. If you can read one full page of a Harry Potter book, nigga, I'll give $750,000 to whatever charitable organization you want to. Fuck the bucket of ice, man. Got a phone call from my man Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy said if Floyd accepts the challenge, then he'll put it on the actual show, so you can read it on the show. We don't want to put pressure on you. We know you can't pronounce those words in that Harry Potter book, so we're gonna let you read Cat in the Hat.
Whether it's dyslexia, limited formal education, or something else completely, one reality remains unavoidable. If you're operating a billion-dollar empire but can't personally review and fully understand a 40-page legal contract on your own, then you're placing enormous trust in the people surrounding you. And in the world of money, fame, and business, that kind of dependence can become incredibly dangerous.
I'm Floyd Mayweather, I'm Floyd Mayweather, and I've joined Heart Radio for the show. Your stripes, okay.
Your lawyers, advisors, managers, even the people inside your closest circle, all of them suddenly hold enormous power over your future. And if even one of those people chooses to exploit that weakness, you may never realize it until the damage is already done. Which brings us to February 2026. Floyd Mayweather Jr. reportedly filed a massive $340 million lawsuit against Showtime and several former advisors, claiming that hundreds of millions generated from his biggest fights had quietly been redirected into third-party accounts he allegedly never knew existed under agreements he personally never reviewed himself. According to Floyd's legal team, when they requested complete accounting records and financial documentation from Showtime, they were reportedly informed that many of the records had been destroyed in a flood. Not delayed, not misplaced, lost in a flood. Financial documents connected to hundreds of millions of dollars supposedly vanished. Take a second and really think about that, because it honestly sounds unbelievable. Now, here's the way I look at the situation. This lawsuit is either one of the most important legal battles in boxing history, or it's the most desperate financial Hail Mary sports has ever seen. There are really only two realistic explanations. Possibility number one, Floyd's inner circle, the people he trusted for years, genuinely robbed him blind. They may have exploited the fact that he couldn't fully audit or personally analyze complicated contracts, and they got away with it because the Mayweather machine was generating so much money nobody questioned where all of it was actually ending up. Possibility number two, Floyd is scrambling to recover every dollar he possibly can because financial pressure is closing around him. And this lawsuit becomes less about justice and more about leverage, settlement money, and public pressure strong enough to buy him more time with creditors and investors. But either way, the underlying story remains exactly the same. Floyd Mayweather Jr., the man who built his image around being boxing's smartest businessman, may never have truly controlled his own finances at all. And that brings us to the present day in 2026, because Floyd's current exhibition schedule tells the entire story by itself. He reportedly has a fight lined up in the Democratic Republic of the Congo against a 60-year-old opponent. Now listen, this isn't disrespect toward the Congo at all. Beautiful country, great people. But Floyd Mayweather fighting there at this stage of his life doesn't feel like a legacy move. It doesn't look like a retirement celebration. It looks like a man chasing whatever payday is still available because the private jets still need fuel. Then there's another exhibition in Greece against a retired kickboxer. Why Greece? Because operating there reportedly avoids certain Nevada Athletic Commission restrictions, meaning less oversight, lower expenses, and quicker access to money. Floyd appears to be optimizing for immediate cash flow, not historical greatness. And finally, the rumored rematch, Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather Jr., potentially staged at Sphere in Las Vegas with distribution tied to Netflix, HTTPS. Two legends approaching their late 40s, both years removed from their physical prime, returning mainly because streaming numbers and nostalgia still generate revenue. This doesn't feel like a victory lap anymore. It feels like selling off the final valuable asset Floyd still possesses, his name. And the harsh reality is that even those massive exhibition checks probably won't solve the deeper issue, because if the spending habits remain unchanged and the financial obligations continue growing, no single payday is large enough to repair the structure underneath. You cannot escape a long-term financial collapse simply by taking more exhibition fights. The structure itself has to change. Sell the jets, reduce the entourage, scale down the lifestyle, protect and reinvest what remains. Financially, that's the only equation that truly works. And that seems to be the exact thing Floyd Mayweather emotionally cannot bring himself to do. Because here's the truth connecting this entire story together. Floyd is not simply dealing with financial problems. He's trapped inside the identity he spent decades creating. For over 25 years, he presented himself as the richest, smartest, most untouchable figure in sports. He wasn't just Floyd anymore. He became money. He became TB, the best ever. He became a symbol of winning both inside and outside the ring. To downsize now, to sell a jet, to release the entourage, to move into a smaller home, to publicly admit that the golden era is over. For Floyd, that likely feels like psychological destruction, because the Money Mayweather persona isn't just marketing. It became his entire sense of self-worth. He would seemingly rather bounce checks at a jewelry store than admit the image may have partially been an illusion. He would rather fight a 60-year-old opponent in the Congo than publicly acknowledge the blockbuster days are gone. He would rather launch a $340 million lawsuit than quietly restructure his life behind closed doors. And that right there may be the true tragedy behind Floyd Mayweather's story. Not just the gambling rumors, not just the reckless spending, not just the entourage or bad investments. It's the inability to separate personal value from financial value. It's what happens when someone builds their entire identity around a number, and eventually that number starts shrinking. Mike Tyson experienced it. MC Hammer experienced it. And now, in real time during 2026, Floyd Money Mayweather may be experiencing it too. The greatest offensive boxer who ever lived might ultimately be unable to defend himself from his own lifestyle. So I'll leave you with this question. Is this the ultimate cautionary tale of the Money Team era? Or do you believe Floyd Mayweather still has one final comeback left, not inside the ring, but inside his bank account? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one.